The night the circus arrived, the town could feel it before they even saw it. A low rumble shook the ground as massive wagons rolled down the cracked country road. Horses with black, glassy eyes dragged cages covered in thick tarps. From beneath those tarps came faint noises, groans, scratching, sometimes even muffled screams. By morning, the great tent stood at the edge of the town, towering like a monster waiting to breathe. Its fabric was blood red, its flags black, its ropes stretched tight, as if straining to keep something inside. Posters littered every wall and street corner. The Midnight Circus, one night only. A show unlike anything you've seen before. The children whispered about the strange figures they saw while the tent was built. Performers with faces hidden behind masks, silent, staring at anyone who dared to get too close. And always, at the center of those whispers, was the same name, Grimzo, the clown. That evening, thousands gathered. Curiosity outweighed fear. The tent swallowed them whole as they entered, the smell of damp earth and smoke filling their lungs. Lanterns flickered dimly. Shadows stretched unnaturally long across the canvas. The orchestra struck the first note, sharp, screeching violins that made even the bravest men flinch. Then the ringmaster, dressed in a tattered black coat, stepped into the light. His grin was wide, but his teeth were rotten. His voice boomed, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Tonight, you will see wonders and horrors beyond imagination. But remember, every smile hides a shadow." The crowd applauded nervously. The first acts came quickly. Acrobats twisting unnaturally high above. Contortionists bending their spines until bones cracked. Fire breathers exhaling flames that smelled faintly of burning flesh. Each performance dazzled, yet unsettled. And then, the ringmaster's voice returned, trembling with mock excitement. But now, the moment you've all been waiting for. The star of our show, our eternal laughter, Grimzo the clown. The tent went silent. From the shadows, he emerged. His face was painted ghostly white. His grin stretched wider than natural, painted in crimson. His eyes were pools of black, reflecting no light. He wore a filthy, oversized costume. The colors faded, the fabric stained. Every step he took made the ground creak. At first, he played the fool, tripping, juggling, making balloon animals. Children laughed hesitantly. But with each trick, his movements became wrong. When he juggled knives, they weren't props. They dripped with something dark. When he pretended to trip, the sound of bones cracking echoed louder than it should. And then came the laughter. Not from the audience, from him. It started as a chuckle, but grew into a roar, sharp and jagged like broken glass. It filled every corner of the tent, rattling the lanterns, crawling under the audience's skin. People began to shift uncomfortably, mothers pulling children closer. Suddenly, the lights died. One single spotlight snapped on, and there he stood, in the center ring, holding a massive, rusted pair of shears, taller than a man. The blade glistened red. His voice, low and guttural, slithered through the darkness. "Do you want to know the truth about this circus?" The tent fell silent, every breath held. Grimzo's smile widened as he turned toward the crowd. "This circus is no show. It's a feast." The doors slammed shut. Heavy locks clanged into place. The audience rushed toward the exits, but there was no escape. The air thickened with smoke, swallowing every scream. Grimzo stepped off the stage, dragging the shears behind him. The screech of metal against wood made spines shiver. Children cried. Men pounded on the tent walls. Women begged for mercy, and Grimzo laughed. One group of desperate townsfolk tore through a flap behind the stage, stumbling into the backstage darkness. What they found there froze their blood. Cages. Dozens of cages. Inside each one, bodies slumped. Rotting performers, skeletal remains, the missing faces of people long whispered about in town. Each corpse was painted like a clown. Hollow sockets stared endlessly, mouths stretched into eternal smiles. Pinned to the walls were photographs of audiences from years past, entire crowds. Beneath each photo, a single word written in crimson ink: harvested. The survivors stumbled back into the main tent, only to find Grimzo waiting, blocking their path. He raised the shears slowly, his laughter echoing as the orchestra, though no one played, resumed its horrific music. What happened after is spoken of only in hushed tones. Some say a handful escaped, covered in blood, eyes wide with madness. Others claim no one survived at all. But when the sun rose, the circus was gone. No tent, no wagons, no cages. The field stood empty, except for one thing: the rusted shears, buried in the dirt, still wet. The townsfolk never welcomed another circus again. But even years later, children whispered, years passed, but the memories of that night never faded. The few survivors were haunted by dreams of the red tent, the echoing laughter, and the black-eyed clown. Some claimed they could hear Grimzo's voice when the wind howled through empty streets. Do you remember me? One night, a young journalist, fascinated by urban legends, decided to investigate. She followed rumors of an abandoned circus field far outside town. The grass had overgrown the once packed soil, yet faint tracks of wagon wheels and footprints were visible, almost glowing under the pale moonlight. As she stepped into the clearing, she saw them, shadows of the past. Ghostly tents shimmered in the mist, their colors faded but unmistakable. Then, from the darkness, came a soft squeak, like a wheel on old wood. A silhouette appeared, Grimzo standing as if waiting for her. But this time, he was different. The edges of his costume seemed to blur, almost melting into the shadows. His face, no longer fully human. It flickered, revealing glimpses of the countless faces he had stolen over the years. Each grin, each hollow eye socket, each painted corpse merged into one terrifying visage. The journalist froze, heart pounding, as she realized the truth. Grimzo was not a single being. He was the circus itself. Every disappearance, every scream, every cage filled with painted bodies. They were all part of him. The circus was alive, feeding on fear, and Grimzo was its eternal mask. Then he spoke, voice echoing like the rustle of chains. Do you want to join the show? The mist thickened, curling around her legs, pulling her toward the old tent. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. Behind her, the shadows shifted. Dozens of black-eyed clowns emerged, silent, waiting. She understood, in that frozen moment, that the midnight circus never left. It only waited for the next curious soul. And somewhere, far away, in the town that had almost forgotten, children began to whisper, Grimzo is coming back. This Halloween, if you dare to shiver in the warmth of your home and face your nightmares, watch what happens next.